Oh my god, that was gorgeous. Hello everybody and welcome to Quarter Up, the show that now has a new intro and it's really sick looking. My name is Croog, hi. I have with me the wonderful, effervescent, beautiful, bubbly, champagne tasting Indigo. How's it
All
going,
right,
buddy?
those are definitely a collection of words.
How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about
I'm
yourself?
doing pretty fucking good. Thank you for joining us here, audience people. This is Quarter Up. It's a gaming news and debate show where we talk about this week's news, we debate some of the more divisive topics, and we educate you in between. It's really fun. Uh, let's start off with how our weeks were, buddy. How was your week?
My week was pretty good. Just a lot of work, and then coming home and trying to play Overwatch, but haven't really been able to play because I've been doing all sorts of different stuff after work. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Overwatch and I got back into Witcher 3.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
And I've been trying to play that a little bit more because
The
I never
expansion?
beat it. No. I'm restarting, and because you get to a point in like a game that you haven't played in a really long time, you're like, I don't even know how to play this character. So I started completely over. I think I only clocked like 30 hours or something like that
Oh,
into
yeah,
it.
just 30 hours. That's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
So
totally forget after 30 hours.
yeah, right. So I restarted, and then I'm going through that, and then I want to hit up the expansions and play those afterwards. So
Nice,
I'm
man.
excited for it because when I started playing it, I was like, I totally remember why I loved playing this game. So I'm back to that. But what
Nice.
about you?
Uh,
How's
I'm
how's your
I'm
week?
good. My week was great. I've been working on a lot of QueueTimes stuff. Some artwork for advertisements. All of this intro stuff that I just did literally in the last 30 minutes. This is the podcast that should not have worked correctly because in
Yeah.
between the end of last episode and the beginning of this episode, I updated my computer. Like I updated Windows. I updated the program we use to stream. We added two whole new things. So first of all, we added these intros, which
Mm-hmm.
I just did and it worked fine. So hooray for that. Two, we're not going to go, for those of you that watch us regularly, we're not going to go away in between Quarter Up and Slash Yell. We're going to stay and stream some games for an hour, and then we're
Mm-hmm.
going to start Slash Yell. Normally there's an hour break. We decided to get rid of that because we don't usually do anything in the hour break except for beat off, so it's not really important. So we're going to stay and play some Overwatch this time, and we'll be playing other games as time goes on. But now that that stuff's out of the way, actually, we should probably ask Adrock how he is. Hey, Adrock, how are you this week? Can't hear. Hey, are you?
I can't hear
No,
him.
I can't hear him
Oh,
either.
that's because he's in Sacramento, right?
He is in
For
Sacramento.
Yeah, for WizardCon.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did a drawing panel by himself, which he felt really awkward doing. He like messaged us on Slack. He's like, I miss you guys. I had to do a panel all by myself, and it was really annoying.
He's like, yeah, without you guys like bouncing stuff off of it was really awkward and weird.
So we'll come to you to the next one if you want.
Yeah,
That
just
would be
gotta
fun.
pay for us.
Yeah, $1,000 per minute each. Anyways, let's hop into the news for this week.
Absolutely.
This first
If you
one's
don't mind,
hilarious.
I would like to talk about
I
this
know
one.
you do.
This one just fuck copyright shit. Like just fuck it. Like
Right
it's
in the
so
butt.
annoying.
Yup.
So if you guys didn't know, there's a game coming out in August 9th to be specific, called No Man's Sky. Well,
Correct.
apparently for the last 3 years, they've actually been in a secret legal battle over the name. Yeah, because apparently there's a company named Sky TV, and they have a very tight grip on the word sky because, as Sean Murray tweeted out, supposedly they own the word sky. But no,
Yeah.
no, it's not just them that Sky TV has gotten after. They're also the reason why Microsoft had to change their name of the Sky Drive to
OneDrive,
OneDrive.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, you should not be able to own a word unless you invented the word.
Yeah, like I don't know. Sky is such like a ubiquitous like. How do you own the word sky? Anyways, fuck these people for making No Man's Sky go through this. I am speculating super hardcore, saying that this is probably why they were delayed for a little bit.
Well, in the article, they said that they don't know if this is one of the reasons why it's
Right,
delayed,
but
but it's possible.
like,
Yeah.
if you can't launch a game without being sure that the title's not gonna be like, oh, by the way, hey, you need to give us 30% of everything you sell because that's our night like name, you know?
Well, and this is the thing is that they're saying that they settled it, which to me means that they turned around and said, "Fuck it, here's some money and
Yeah.
take." You know what I
Now
mean?
shut
Like
up and leave us alone.
exactly, like they got to the point where they just didn't want to deal with their legal bullshit. Like first of all, never heard of Sky TV in my entire life.
Right.
Have you?
Nope.
Okay, so
Not
fuck
even a
them.
little bit. Yeah, fuck them
I've
in the
heard
butt.
of No Man's Sky. I mean, theoretically, that isn't the means of law.
No,
It's like,
that's not how
oh, I've
copyright
heard
works
of,
at all.
but I've heard the word Sky before I heard the word Sky TV.
Apparently, it's New Zealand's main pay television operator. Whatever the fuck that means.
Right here.
Yep.
You can't tell by the audio, people. Putting up my middle finger. 'Cause fuck.
Anyways, thank God they won and are going to be able to release, hopefully on time, because I'm really excited for that game.
It looks very interesting. I really do like the trailers that they've been posting, and then they've been doing a lot of like talk shows and stuff like that, talking to people and exploring the world and showing what you can do. But they're just hinting at like what the game is really about. They're just like, yeah, you can walk around and do all this other stuff, but there's also all this other crazy stuff that's out there, but we're not gonna talk about
Well,
it.
because 90% of it's like, we don't know what it is because the game creates it on the fly.
Yeah. There's like this whole like computerized. Nah, it's a long story. I'm not even gonna get into it. But
Most of you already know what No Man's Sky is. If you don't, I'd highly recommend looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily have time to get into like what it is and why it's awesome, but suffice it to say that it is in existence and it is certainly awesome. And you should definitely take a look.
Yeah. Next piece of news is something we got to see during E3, which is the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Winds trailer.
Which is gorgeous looking.
Amazing.
Utterly
really,
gorgeous.
really awesome. Yeah, it looks really, really good. Not enough for me to buy a Wii U, but, you know.
Yeah,
awesome.
this looks like something I'd play on PC.
Yeah, right? Like this doesn't look like...
I can't, but it looks like something I would if I could.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that whole debate, but because we're gonna get into it later.
We're not, but okay.
Well, we are exclusivity.
Oh, sure. Okay, whatever.
Boom. Anyway, sorry. It looks great. You guys should really need to take a look at it. Link's got a different kind of look. It's got a different feel. Like the game itself has a lot more. It looks like to offer. Like there looks like I couldn't tell if it was like a cooking system or if it was just a specific mission that they had to do.
It felt a lot more open worldy and like survivally than than any Zelda title really. Like. And again, this is all just a trailer. They didn't explain anything. They just showed gameplay.
There was like no words whatsoever.
Right. It was literally just gameplay footage. But it looked a lot more Minecrafty in the sense that you can like manipulate terrain. It seemed like you could interact with the terrain, which isn't something I've seen in a Zelda game before. Aside from like this part of the terrain is part of a puzzle, and you have to push it on top of this button, sort of thing. But this showed Link chopping down trees and like raising, like elevating part of an ocean so that he could jump up onto it, like the ground below the water so that he can jump up onto it and stuff like that. So I don't know if all those things are quest locked or if you could do that kind of more dynamically than specifically for a quest. But the cooking system and the fact that he was like hunting animals that weren't hostile or didn't seem hostile made me think that this is kind of a more open worldy survivally game.
Yep.
Which I'm excited for. And let me rephrase that. I'm excited to see Zelda go in that direction and hopefully eventually get to the point where I can play it without buying a Nintendo product. Someday.
I don't have issue with Nintendo handhelds, and the Nintendo Wii was pretty awesome, but the Nintendo Wii U I just don't get it. So I'm not gonna go there. Nope. All right, so the next trailer, I hate this fucking trailer. Like, Batman, fucking shame on you. All right.
Why?
This is the worst fucking trailer in existence. It's the Batman VR game. It's a PlayStation game. It says fucking nothing about it. It's literally just close-ups of Batman's armor. It just like, and it shows you like the gloves, and then it shows you like his shoulder pad, and just shows you like the real neat fine like work that was done, leather.
This is not a trailer. This is.
And then over it you hear the Joker talking. and then at the end it says October 2016. I'm like, oh no, fuck you, this is not a fucking fuck. Like,
This is not a
are you
fucking
kidding?
fuck.
This was so stupid. Why even show this at this point? Like, someone actually had to sit there, edit the audio, had to mix the sound, had to create the assets for this, like digitally, and then they had to put it all together and post it online. Fuck you.
Well, it does have 800,000 views, almost 900,000 views at this point.
Yeah, that's because they're like, well, maybe I missed something. Maybe there was something clearly on here, but I missed it. And then they watched it, and then they're like, all right, well, maybe one more time. Maybe the Joker says something, and then they watch again. And they're like, nope, Joker doesn't say shit. Oh, you know, it's Arkham. That's all you know. Like, it's the dumbest trailer. It shouldn't have existed.
You scroll through the YouTube comments, and people are like, I'm not sure if I should take a risk and buy this. Any thoughts? And everyone's just like, nope. Or this other person's like, is this just Batman's Arkham series remastered or a new game? ? Like, everybody's super confused.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody understands what's going on.
It's dumb.
I don't understand why somebody would think this is a remastered version of the game when at the end they clearly say in development for PSVR. But okay, whatever. You can.
Well, no, it could be a remastered version where you can play in VR.
That sounds like a waste, but okay, whatever.
I don't know. This trailer is a waste.
It's not a trailer. It's a teaser. I hate how I have to differentiate between those two things now, but apparently I have to differentiate between those two things now.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, October's not that far away.
That's true.
They should have something a little bit more concrete.
Less than 4 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, that's not enough.
So I'm just saying.
All right, well, no hype from this trailer. Go die.
No, but this next one I got some hype for.
All right, what is it?
Days Gone. It is a post-apocalyptic, apparently 2 years after some sort of horrible zombie apocalypse happened. But they don't call them zombies, they call them freakers, apparently. And it looks really, really good. You play as a biker, and you kind of were a mercenary and a biker and just kind of like all around hard guy before the world. And you're now in this zombie world, and you just go around wrecking face. But here's the other thing, is that when you go in there, you can actually choose different ways to go about the same mission. So, like, for example, you can go into the mission and you can, like, he goes over in one of the gameplay footage, he goes over and opens a truck, like the hood of a truck, and pulls out a filter and attaches the filter to the front of his pistol, and then uses that as a silencer.
Oh, I see.
But you can go in there stealthily, or you can go in there like guns blazing, or like there's different options, kind of, you know, depending on your specific gameplay style. And I really like that part of it, and it looks good, and it's not just like the same old zombie game. You know, it looks and feels a little bit grittier. Does that make sense?
Well, and I was going to say the opposite. I think this is way less gritty than Fallout, for example. Like, remember Fallout 3 and New Vegas? Yeah, but
Fallout's not a zombie game.
I know. I'm talking about post-apocalyptic now. So we have Fallout,
specific.
Yeah, we have Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and they were both kind of like gray and brown and kind of like shit dirt, not really colorful.
Yeah, but that's a color palette. That's not grit to me.
No, I understand. Just give me a second.
Okay, all right.
You have both of those, and then they went to Fallout 4 New Vegas, which was like, okay, we realize at some point that vegetation would return, and so we will be adding vegetation, not only because it makes a little bit of sense, but because it will kind of break up the monotony of just having green or the browns and shit colors everywhere. But this game looks like normal. Like, the landscape is beautiful. It's trees and vegetation, and there's wildlife. So like, things survived. It's not like the world was destroyed. It's that civilization was destroyed.
Yeah, this is a zombie apocalypse. It's not a giant nuke that fries trees. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
which I think makes it feel less gritty. I think that like beautiful landscapes in the background as something is chasing and killing you makes it, a little more calming.
I don't use grit as a like color palette though. That's my thing.
No, that's where I get the feeling from.
Well, you're completely wrong.
Well, you're a complete fucking judgmental asshole. So there's that part of it.
But it looks very interesting. It looks really cool. I saw a couple interviews with the developers of the game, and it does look really interesting. I want to see a little bit more before I like full on go have to buy it, gotta get it. But it looks really cool.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on this one.
Yeah. So why don't you pop into the next piece of news?
So Gaben, this piece of news is about Gaben. Gaben had one of his emails posted on Reddit that had some opinions, specifically about exclusivity. So for those of you that don't know, there are some developers that have been approached by Oculus, and Oculus has said something to the effect of, hey guys, we have a bunch of money and you need a bunch of money. We'll give you a bunch of money in return for you giving us your title first. So release your VR title on Oculus as like a first exclusive, and then wait X amount of time and then release it on whatever other fucking platforms you want. Some people misconstrued this offer because a developer went out and said, oh, hey, Oculus offered me a bunch of money so that they could have my game as an exclusive. Fuck those guys. I don't like exclusives. But he totally misrepresented the offer. They wanted like a certain time of exclusivity. Mm-hmm. So a bunch of people were mad. And then this email found its way to Reddit and got like upvoted to a million billion miles above the atmosphere. It's Gaben basically talking about exclusives and how Valve approaches them. He says, we don't think exclusives are a good idea for consumers or developers. There's a separate issue, which is risk, and he's talking about the risk from the perspective of the people producing the games. On any given project, you need to think about how much risk to take on. There's a lot of different forms of risk: financial risk, design risk, schedule, blah, 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 blah. A lot of interesting VR work is being done by new developers. That is a triple risk whammy. A new developer creating a new game with new mechanics on a new platform. We're in a much better position to absorb financial risk, and by we, obviously he means Valve, than a new VR developer. So we're happy to offset that, giving developers development funds, essentially prepaid Steam revenue. However, there are no strings attached to those funds. They can develop for Rift or PlayStation VR, whatever the developer thinks is the right target for their VR system. Our hope is by providing the funding to these developers that they will be less likely to take on deals that require them to be exclusive, which is a pretty bold stance. Like, not only is he saying exclusive like titles are bad, but I'm going to put my own money on the line to make sure that other people don't create exclusive titles, which is bananas. Like, he hates it with a fervor.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. I see it a little bit more cynical in the sense that he is saying, yeah, we can take on the risk, but at the same time, he wants non-exclusivity because VR is such a new market that just having that content out there for any of the VR helmets that come out is beneficial. So, for example, if you buy the Steam version and someone else comes out with a piece of content on, the what is the PlayStation one? Not the PlayStation one.
HTC Vive.
Sure, the Vive. So it comes out on the Vive, right? And then it only can play on the Vive, then it's going to hurt the market because then everyone's going to have to go, oh, well, there's not as many games coming out for mine that I own. So then people are torn between which one to buy because there aren't exclusive games, or because there are exclusive games for each one of them.
Right.
So I think it's more of the fact that I think he thinks it's going to hurt the first generation of VR headsets. And in the long run, he knows that his VR headset's going to be successful, or at least one of the few main VR headsets. And so he wants to prevent exclusivity for the sheer fact that it hurts him in the long run.
Well, does that make sense? Very conveniently brings us to our first point of contention, which is, drum roll please, are exclusives a good thing? Very simple, very straightforward. Indigo, why don't you tell us what you think?
Well, I'm going to give a short sentence. I don't think exclusives are a big deal at all.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad at all.
I think they're a horrible idea. A horrible idea. So, for those of you that haven't watched the show before, the way that this debate kind of works is that we both explain what our sides are, which we just did. He thinks it's not a bad idea. I think exclusives are a horrible idea. Then we kind of let loose and go back and forth and have a discussion about it. At the very end, we're going to post a link to Twitter that'll allow you guys to vote and see who has the better answer, and we'll take that that choice that you guys made, and we'll give a point based on who wins. Normally we'd have a third person who's a moderator, but Adrock's not here today, so we don't have that part of the show. But that's it.
We
for that,
trudge on,
right? We fight on without Adrock. This is so much to go. So much.
Oh God.
So,
anyways,
that having been said, exclusives are a horrible idea because
okay, go for it.
It removes the need for developers of these hardware platforms. It removes some of the need for developers of these hardware platforms to compete based on the merit of their hardware platforms. They get another metric to compete off of, which is the quality of the games released on those hardware platforms. So it makes it less important, and it definitely doesn't make it not important, but it makes it less important how good the actual hardware is, and that's what they should be competing on.
Not necessarily.
What?
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, okay, I will agree with the set for this specific one with VR headsets as a whole. I agree having having exclusives for the VR headset is bad because it could be the end of VR headsets. If there is so many exclusives for each headset and there's 15 different types of helmets out there and no one buys them because there isn't enough games on one specific one or the other, it could ruin that market.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if there's 15. It could just be if literally the only two VR options available in the entire world were Oculus and Vive, and literally that's it. It's still a horrible idea to have exclusives because let's say that Oculus has a bunch of money and a horrible product, but they pay all the developers to just be like, yo, we're gonna give you a fuck ton of money, make your game Oculus exclusive, and then they get all this funding because
and they can make a better game because of that.
Yeah, they can make a better game, but on a worse platform. Whereas if this didn't happen,
it doesn't matter. But you yourself said it does. You said the hardware isn't the most important thing, but it is a important part.
No.
And the
I'm saying that's what exclusives create.
Turns around and says, okay, look, we want to create content. Not only do we want to make a headset, but we want to create content. So they turn around and create a studio. You have to think in the long run. If they create a studio and they create content for their specific headset and you can only play their content for their headset, not only are they the one funding both ends, why should that money go into someone else's hands when they're the ones turning around and working on that? Not only that, if they're going to sit there and give these studios money, which they're not getting if there aren't exclusives, it's not like Vive and Oculus are sitting there saying, here, we're going to give you the same amount of money that you would get if you were going to go exclusive to not go exclusive and give it to everyone at the exact same time. That's not going to happen because it doesn't benefit anyone.
There are definitely other ways of getting money. I specifically don't know what those ways are, but they obviously exist because not every game is an exclusive, right? Like, correct, there has to be other ways of getting money.
Yes, there are producers that they turn around and get involved and start making
I want to address something that you put in my mouth that was utterly wrong. You said that I don't think that the hardware is the most important thing.
No. You said, and you said just now, it says, let me rephrase that. You did not say hardware is the most important thing. You said that it wasn't the only part. You said that...
No. I said that having an exclusive title makes it so that hardware isn't the only metric that consumers use to judge hardware. I don't think that's the way it should be. I think if I'm providing a hardware product, that hardware product should be judged based on how good it is, not what can go into it. Like, it should just be, is this piece of hardware good? Is it responsive in terms of VR specifically? Is it responsive? Is it lightweight? Is it fun to use? Are the controllers well designed? So on and so forth.
The exclusives, I think you don't realize is that with exclusives, you're also going to have a higher caliber game that's going to benefit the VR helmet, whether it's as good as a product as another or not. So if you keep everything,
how is creating?
I'm trying to explain it. You need to stop interrupting me, and I can explain it. So if you sit there and say, okay, everything that anyone creates goes on every single headset, right? That turns into Steam's greenlight section where it's just fucking atrocious games that shouldn't exist. and they don't have to be responsive, they don't have to be excellent, they just kind of exist, then that's going to put a bad taste in the market's mouth of like, why am I going to pay for this game? But if you add exclusives, you're now adding that additional level that Vive
So
and
I see the assumption you're making. You're making the assumption that exclusive games are of higher quality than
no,
non-exclusive
I'm saying
games.
exclusive games have an additional layer of people that they have to go through, because now it doesn't just represent themselves, the company that makes the game, but it's also now representing the company that is paying for this. So now
It
you're having to go through another level, and of course games fall through that happens all the time. But what I'm saying is that with that additional level of oversight, it's less likely to happen.
I I think you're right. With that additional level of oversight, it's less likely to happen. But you're absolutely wrong when you make the assumption that making an exclusive game is the only way to get that level of oversight. For
No,
example,
I never said that.
there
Never
are
said
tons of apps. That's what you presumed by saying that this is a benefit of VR,
Yeah, it
or not
adds
VR,
to
of
the
exclusivity.
quality.
It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. You can achieve the same level of oversight with a model like
You have a higher likelihood of that
you
occurring.
can achieve the same level of oversight with a model like the Apple App Store, where you just say, I'm not going to sell this product because it's not up to my standards. You don't need to have the exclusivity layer there. And
Yeah,
the exclusivity layer
but
does
there,
have its
so
own
the thing is,
drawbacks, which are the
no, no,
fact
no, no, no,
that
no. So
it
that doesn't work
creates
the
a
way
new
the
metric for
the same way.
people to
You're
judge
comparing
hardware.
apples and fucking monkeys. All
I'm
right,
not
that's what
comparing
you're
apples and
comparing right now.
monkeys.
You're comparing apps which you have to go and use on a specific hardware that has specifically
That's not true.
on my phone, my iPhone. I can use the same app that's on my iPhone that's on my Android.
Yes, people do
No, you
develop
can't.
apps
There
for
are people
multiple
that develop
devices.
for both, but they
Yes.
are not the same software.
You're right. They're not the same software. They're similar software.
So then rephrase your statement.
Okay,
Because
they're
then that's
similar
not correct.
software.
It's not the same. Period.
Well, okay, so
They're
you think
not
when
the same
somebody
piece of
develops a VR app for Oculus and Rift, it's going to be the same game? Underneath, it's going to be different, right? It has to connect to two different pieces of hardware. So it's the same concept as two pieces of software for an iPhone and for an Android device. Same situation, right?
Sort of.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
So, for example, I can take my Vive and use Steam, and then I can take my Oculus Rift and use Steam.
Yes, but the
Both of them
file
are-
the file that you're getting might be different, right? The same way
They're
that if you're on
from
an
the same app store,
Huh?
they're from the same location.
That's not the thing I'm discussing, though. I'm discussing the product underneath.
I don't understand what you're trying to argue. So I'm gonna go back to what I was saying, which is because you don't have that same level. Again, you can always achieve the same level, but with the additional level of oversight, you're able to get together a little bit better. Sorry, my thoughts are a little crazy. I just got a phone call, so I'm
Gotcha.
trying
I gotcha.
trying
I
to
gotcha.
connect A to B.
Well, and I think we're kind of hitting a dead end at this point where we're just yelling at each other anyways. So
I
go ahead and summarize your point.
think that adding exclusivity will add to the overall quality of the market, and not only will it add to the overall quality of the market, but it's also going to add it's also going to cut out the unnecessary players in the game, and it's going to narrow the market down. So instead of 15 different headsets, you're going to see more like 2 or 3.
And I think that exclusivity creates a metric by which individuals can judge a product that don't actually have anything to do with that product specifically and create an environment that breeds worse and worse and worse products as time goes on. That having been said, we're going to be posting a link to a Twitter poll, which you can vote in and let us know who you think is the best person ever created, aka Croog. But until we get to that point, Indigo, why don't you hit us with the next piece of that hot, sexy news, buddy?
All right, so Overwatch competitive mode we've been given a little update of what's going on in that world, and when we're going to be seeing stuff like this. So first of all, 3 months. Each season is going to be approximately 3 months. I think we talked a little bit about this last week.
Yeah, there was a little bit of stuff in there that we'd already gone over that they confirmed,
Yeah.
but there's also some new stuff.
Yeah. So the first thing is originally they were going to be 1 month long seasons. Now they're going to be 3 month seasons for sure. And they're going to be based off of real world seasons.
Yeah, so like summer, fall, winter will kind of
Exactly.
match with the seasons of Overwatch.
Exactly. There'll also be short breaks in between each Overwatch season for people to reset. So not only will there be a 3-month season, but you'll have a couple weeks before the next season starts up, so you can,
I don't get that
team.
concept. Like, we're just gonna put this pause in between seasons so that you can have a break.
Yeah, I don't. It makes sense, I guess. If you've got a hardcore team going, and giving them that break, able to play other games or experience. I don't know. It's an idea. They did it. Whatever.
Fair enough.
Summer will be the first season, which hopefully means that we're going to be seeing this pretty soon. Then the incident of sudden death, which is that overtime section, will be greatly minimized. So they've been seeing it approximately 30% of the time. And while, other players are claiming it to being more like 50% of the time, like they're always seeing the overtime stuff. They're saying that they're going to be reducing that so that instead of just kind of always a situation where that happens, it's actually going to happen less often and be more due to the teams being very close in score. And
as opposed to like
yeah,
one person's holding an objective for 99% of the match, and then the opponents come in and just cap it at the last second. Like, no, you've been getting dominated for 99% of this match. You need to lose. They didn't specifically go into details as to how they're going to do that, but they said they're going to be releasing those details relatively soon.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep an eye out for those because those are really exciting.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing, is that it? No. I'm sorry. They're also going to be adding They're also going to be adding additional maps, which we don't have information on.
Right.
Also additional characters, which we don't
have information on.
Yeah. Assault mode is also going to be changed to incur longer matches and more back and forth action between teams. Specifically on how these changes will be revealed soon as well. So we don't. Yeah,
they said that like a lot of the assault game mode matches were basically coming down to like one really important team fight, and then whoever wins that is just kind of like, okay, the rest of the game's kind of set in stone now, and like you can come back, but you probably can't come back.
Yep.
If the teams are equal after that one pivotal moment, you're kind of fucked. And they don't like that kind of gameplay. They like more like, oh no, is it going to be these people? No, oh, these people are starting to do good. Oh fuck that ult. Back and forth is really important in esports specifically, and that seems like what they're gearing for. So they're gonna try and change it up.
Absolutely. That being it, the next piece of news we're going to go into is something else we saw during E3, which is the Resident Evil 7 trailer. Holy crap. It doesn't look anything like a Resident Evil game. Like, they completely changed the tone, everything. Like, Resident Evil 4, it's crazy. Resident Evil 4, the original 4, came out and it changed the genre and it made it more of an action game. Well, 7 now is actually taking it back and is taking it more as a creepy, weird, strange. It reminds me a lot more of Silent Hill than it does of actual Resident Evil. It's
so
crazy.
They're turning it to a horror game?
Yeah, it feels like it. So they have a play test online that you can play. And this playtest will not be in the game whatsoever, but they wanted you to get the overall look, feel, and control of how the game was going to feel. And it's super creepy. I really like it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Me too. Not going to play it, but I'm definitely going to watch people be afraid of it.
Fine, be that way. Well, and then the next piece of news we're going to go into is Twitch suing the top 7 ViewBot sellers, which
is horrible because we use 4 out of 5 of those ViewBot sellers.
4 out of 7? There's 7 of them.
Oh, what did I say? 5? That's just a dentist commercial like reaction that I have. We don't ViewBot, I'm joking.
No, we don't. Not at all.
As you can tell by our view count.
So they will be they're actually not only taking lawsuit against the top 7. They've said, hey, look, we've got a 3-layer system that we're working on. First, we employ a range of technical solutions to detect false viewers and remove them. That's just layer 1 that they've already currently doing. Second is our moderating / support and partnership teams regulate, investigate reports and artificial inflation viewers and follower accounts. So for example, someone gets a huge spike in viewers out of the blue, out of nowhere. They investigate it, check to see if it's real, see what's going on, and then they come back and go, okay, yes, it's real, or no, this is fake. That's tier 2. That's the current system that they have in place. And this will be the first time where they add the 3rd layer, which is that they're going to start taking legal actions after these companies. Because the important thing is that this is people's revenue. This is people that
Yeah,
live
this is their
stream.
livelihood.
Exactly. They're making money, and it could deter from other people getting money. And because, now the viewership over here is 1,500 when, 49, 4,999 of them are bots, and you got one person in there, and you got someone else that has 1,500 views, someone that's worked hard to get that 1,500 views. You're split between who you're going to view because, who do you want to go to?
Right.
Because you don't know based off the viewer count. So it's really interesting. I'm glad that they've decided to do this.
I like how they put a copy of the legal complaint up as well. Like,
yep.
There's a link in our show notes, which will be up on QueueTimes.com, wink, that you can go to. It's like a full copy of their legal complaint, which is really interesting. I haven't had a chance to read through all of it because, like most legal documents, it is endless.
Yep.
But I want to read through it because I think this is really interesting. I hope they win because fuck assholes that view bot.
Yeah, fuck that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is so dumb. Like,
remember when we got view botted?
Yeah, that was super weird.
There was a period of time where we were just sitting here doing quarter up like normal. We had some people in chat, and then suddenly our viewer count just goes like up and up and up and up. And we were just like, what the fuck is actually happening right now? And then we got DDoSed, and so we just turned the stream off. Like, somebody was just fucking with us. So it'd be nice to get rid of the, tool that people use to do half of what happened to us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and on here, they actually were talking about the 2 ways that people use viewer bots. One of them is to inflate their numbers. And then the second one is to actually go after newer streamers or people that are coming into streaming and harass them so that they don't come back.
Right.
So it's to hinder competition and improve your numbers.
Right. We don't do either of those things.
Negative Rampart. Why don't you talk about the next one? Because I don't know anything about this one.
Oh, yeah. So this is hilarious to me. So CSGO updated recently on, when was it? June 15th. They added a sound, amongst other things. They're like kind of working to revamp the soundscape of CSGO, like all around. One of the things they did in order to do that was add a sound that plays when your gun is low on ammunition. So take a pistol, for example. You have 10 clips or 10 rounds in the clip. You shoot off 7 of them. You have 3 rounds left. You shoot the first of your remaining 3, and you hear the bullet get shot like normal, like you did for the previous 7 shots, but you also hear like a kink sound that sounds like the gun is like making a weird sound kind of thing. And apparently that happens with every gun when you're low on ammunition. So CSGO pro players are really pissed because apparently it makes CSGO infinitely easier because you don't have to count how many shots your opponents have fired, which, by the way, the fact that they can do that is baffling to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just saying, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm basically just sitting here listening for when I hear that low ammo sound. And when I do, I can run out because if they only have 3 shots left, they're not going to be able to kill me. Like, they're going to need to headshot me. So I'm infinitely more confident just sprinting out from behind a corner and unloading. You know what I mean? So they're super pissed. Everybody on Reddit's super pissed because they're super pissed. And now everybody's like, well, okay, Valve has to do a PTR so that we can test these things before they release them because apparently they're really fucking stupid. The community's just enraged. The community is not having it.
It's fucking babies.
Well, I personally am kind of on their side. Like,
are you really?
Yeah. They made a huge, like, that is a huge change in that environment, I would say.
Change is good sometimes, buddy. Sometimes
yeah, but this is
good.
Not a good change. It's a
Well, no,
horrible
because
change.
this changes the whole entire like aspect. You can either run the gun all the way through so your bullets are out, or you can shoot and then reload sooner. It just changes something. Sometimes
Yeah, but they can hear the
sometimes
reload
changes
too.
can be an improvement.
You can hear
Sometimes it's
you can hear the reload too. So
okay.
now
So
no matter what, you know what your opponent is doing ammo wise. Like
okay, so you
either they
have to
just
be smart
reloaded.
so you're thinking it as the person that's being shot about. Now you have to think about it in the perspective of someone that is shooting. You know that someone else can hear when you're low on ammo and can hear you reload. Doesn't that mean you as a player that is shooting has to be more intelligent with how you shoot instead of just run and gun? You have to actually be a little bit more intelligent about how you do these things?
Maybe that's
All
true.
right. So it's because people are so used and stuck in the mud for how things are, they don't ever want to see change. This is a change in the game. You're thinking about it on one side, not both.
All right, I'll take that. That wasn't a point of contention, by the way. Don't vote. The next thing is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that would be account security. Because account security is probably the most exciting thing in the world to me because I love security.
Super.
Anyways, Battle.net Authenticator has gotten a really cool update, and I know this is probably the least sexy piece of news, but bear with me. So before, with the Authenticator, what you had to do was attempt to sign into your account, and then it would say, hey, we need an authenticator code. And then you'd go on your phone, you'd open the authenticator, you'd look at the code, and then you'd type the code into your computer and hit enter, and then it would make sure that they're the same, and then it would let you in. Now, this is really cool. Now what you do is you sign into Battle.net, and then it says, okay, I'm waiting for the authenticator, and then you open your phone, and you get a notification that says, hey, you just tried to sign in. Was that a thing that you actually tried to do?
You?
And it shows you a number. So it'll say like MMG1. And then on your computer, it'll say MMG1. And that's how you know that it's the same sign-in attempt as the one you're doing. And then if those two things match, you just hit accept on your phone. And then immediately it's like, okay, on your computer and lets you in. It's super cool. You don't have to type anything. All you have to do is look at your phone, make sure the code matches the one on your computer, and hit accept. And then you're fucking in. It's great. I love it when people make security easier because it makes it more useful for everyone.
And not only does it make it more useful, it's more likely that people will adopt it.
Exactly. Not only that they'll adopt it, but they'll adopt it correctly. Because I come from an IT background, so I know that people write their passwords down. I know that people don't care who knows their passwords. I know so many things that disgust me about the way people treat their account security that I can super appreciate it when somebody just takes it and says, okay, you don't like typing in a password, I'm going to change this a little bit. Now all you have to do is press a button. Are you going to do it right now? Huh? It just makes me happy.
Well, going from that to the most important piece of the news,
hands down the juiciest piece of news we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, the best fucking haircut in the world.
I don't think that's true at all.
What's wrong? Mario haircut? It's someone actually shaved Mario with his hat and everything in the back of someone's head. It's so awesome.
I mean, it's kind of gross. I don't know why, but when I look at it, it reminds me of black mold. That's just what I see when I look at this. Just look at the picture. If you're listening to the podcast, go to the show notes, scroll to the bottom, look for the thing that says Mario, because Indigo's obsessed with putting weird Mario things in our show notes for some reason. Click on it. Tell me whether or not you think it looks like black mold, because I think it looks like black mold.
Okay, sure. Why not?
That
being said, that's it for this week.
That's the news for the week. Oh my god, fucking record time. We still do have to see who won our poll here.
Absolutely. While you do that, I will go ahead and say our goodbyes.
Do it.
So my name is Indigo, guys. If you want to get a hold of me, you can tweet me at IndigoQT on Twitter. If you want to email me, my email is indigo@QueueTimes.com. That's QUEUETIMES.com. If you want to get a hold of myself, Croog, and the seldom here Adrock, you can email us at QU@QueueTimes.com. That's Q for quarter, U for up. Croog, what about you? Where can people find you?
My name is Croog. You can find me at CroogQT on Twitter. You can also email me. My email address is Croog@QueueTimes.com. And that's it. That's how you can get a hold of me. You ready for the winner?
Yep.
It's me. 100% of the vote. 100%
Did you vote for yourself?
Nope, not yet. I'm about to, though. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. We're gonna try something new this time. We're gonna go from the show that we just did to live streaming a game. We've never done that before.
I have to step away.
Oh, I'm gonna go play some Overwatch then, and Indigo can go fuck himself.